Quick video about this Milwaukee Ratchet here. I know this is mostly a tool review channel and I'm supposed to be just opening the box and showing you the tool and telling you what I think about it as opposed to actually working with it. I guess we'll do it a little different. So basically I like it. Even though it's underpowered relative to some of the nicer air ratchets, what I like it for is not that it's got this nut busting ability, but rather that it adds speed without injuring me or my sockets. An air ratchet, or a power ratchet in this case, when the head moves and it ratchets, there's a lot of jerky motion. It's not like a hand tool where you push on it smoothly with your arm. There's a certain degree of basically impact that you're putting into the socket. Well, this is a snap-on 21mm socket. 55 foot-pounds of torque impacting on this, I'm not so worried about it. I feel like it can handle that for the rest of my life and still be a good tool. 100 foot-pounds of impact type torque, and I'm thinking I might start tearing up these sockets. So that's one thing I like about this, is that it gives you the speed after you've loosened the bolt, but it doesn't tear up your tool. Also, 100 foot-pounds of torque, you got that air ratchet going and that bolt hits tight and it'll slam your hand into something sharp and bruise you, tear you up, cut you. Happens all the time. Or it'll get sideways on you and before you can even know it, you've rounded off the fastener. Air ratchets have a lot of power, and that power can sometimes be counterproductive. This, you loosen the fastener with the ratchet or a wrench, and then you come in behind with this and get it the rest of the way, and it'll save you a bunch of time but not tear anything up. That's one thing. The other thing is this is so much quieter than an air ratchet. Also, inevitably with this one, the air compressor is going to kick on and then you got to listen to that too. I mean, this will make you go deaf. This, by contrast, is not that loud. Head thickness is about the same. This is just a Craftsman, but it's pretty typical. Head thickness is about the same. It's not rounded like the Craftsman. See how that Craftsman's rounded along the edge? Again, pretty typical head on an air ratchet. The sharp corners on this I consider a detriment because it does stop you from getting into some areas. In other words, the cross-sectional or diagonal size of this is much larger than the cross-sectional or diagonal size of this. Big enough difference that this is going to get you in tighter spots. Anywho, what does the package say? So I bought just the tool only. I don't remember what it cost, $100 or something like that. 55 foot-pounds max torque. Takes a 3/8. It's claiming to have a thinner head. I disagree. I think the head's pretty big. It's a brushless motor. And that's about it, guys. Like I say, the reasons I like this are not the typical reasons. It's not the most powerful. That is why I like it. It's not the most torque. That is why I like it. It's not the heaviest or the most aggressive. That is why I like it. Those things get you not super noisy, not injured, not broken sockets. Oh, I'd take it apart for you, but I don't feel like it. Alright, boys, I suppose we got to do a torque test on this thing. Now, this is the 7th bolt I've played with this, so I know what's going to happen already. Short answer, prepare to be underwhelmed. Maybe. I'll show you what I got and then you decide for yourself. So this bolt it's free of tension. It's not bound up in any way other than just thread to thread torque. Okay? I've got my torque wrench. Now this claims to have a maximum of 55 foot-pounds of torque. I've got my torque wrench set at 50 foot-pounds. Now this is a Cobalt torque wrench. These are known to be pretty accurate. They're made in China, I think, maybe Taiwan, but pretty sure made in China. but they're certified and calibrated in the U.S. So these are as good as you can get in a cheap torque wrench. So let's get her torque down. So there's 50 foot-pounds, and this is 15/16 Williams. And we're in lefty-loosey. Let's see what she does. Yeah, see that? So takes kind of a perfect situation for it to do anything there on the 50 foot-pounds. And I think Milwaukee's not totally bogus on the maximum 55 foot-pounds. I think if the socket is timed just right to the bolt and the head is timed just right to all of that, such that it gets a maximum torque thrust, and your hand is such that none of the torque, or this thing's held in a vise, such that none of the torque communicates to your hand and it all goes to the bolt. I think if that perfect scenario is met, it will make 55 foot-pounds to that bolt. So we're loose here, so let's go down, and again, I'll spare you the drama. We're going to go all the way down to 40 foot-pounds of torque here. So, and there we are, 40. Now this, it's been pretty consistent. It has had some failures at 40. I'll go ahead and throw that out there. Like that one right there. And again, you see I'm kind of working the ratchet to make that happen. In other words, it's me doing it, not this thing. So let's go down to 30. Let's go down to 35. So we're way down. We're off the scale of the torque wrench, but it's supposedly accurate to 30 foot-pounds. So we're down at 35. And I can tell you all day long, without fail, it'll take off 35 foot-pounds. I mean, it just rips that off. Now, you know, what does 55 foot-pounds look like to take off by hand? You know, what are we asking of this, 12-volt ratchet? All right, 55 foot-pounds. So what are we asking? So there's 55 foot-pounds. And here's that same 3/8 Williams ratchet. 3/8 Williams socket, and here's a snap-on ratchet. And we're in the off mode. What does that look like to take off? Now again, my angle of motion here is pretty crappy, but let's, how hard am I working here? That's what it takes when you're kind of off angle to put 55 foot-pounds into a bolt. I'm pushing pretty hard there. Very consistently, we'll take off 35 foot-pounds. How about tightening ability? So let's, I'll tell you this, whether you bolt all the way snugged up or you slam it in, you end up about the same place on torque, it seems. So back to righty-tighty there, and okay. Now what does that look like as far as how much more I can get into it? Well, this is that 3/8 ratchet. And at that point, I'm starting to pick myself up. So we're talking about 1/8 of a turn. So what does all that mean? I believe this does put 55 foot-pounds into the bolt to tighten it. I believe it consistently can remove 35 and most of the time 40 foot-pound. The main thing, as I've said already, that I like this for is speed, how quiet it is. I'm talking over it right now, just for perspective. And, you know, it doesn't have the air hose hanging out in the end. You can get where you want to. But let's say you're a Harbor Freight guy, you know, and you see that earthquake and you think, man, that Milwaukee has got to be better. It's got to be better than that earthquake. I'm going to get that Milwaukee. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't go out and get a new set of batteries and all that when you know that earthquake's right there. Let's say you're a Snap-on guy, you know, and you've got your 14-volt batteries and you've got that Snap-on ratchet maybe you're interested in, and it's you know, it says only 40 foot-pounds of torque. And you're like, man, I don't know, you know, Milwaukee 55, that's got to be better. Dude, don't go get a new set of batteries. Go get that ratchet. So, is this a good tool? Yes. Is it substantially better than the competitors on the market? No. If I did not already own Milwaukee M12 batteries and I was watching this video, I would not buy this tool. If I was already a red man, I'd go for it. I guess what I'm saying is this is a good tool, but it is only as good as everything else out there. It is not great. Now, maybe you boys are thinking I got a dud here, and maybe I do. Maybe this is a bum tool. If it is, then all that tells you is their quality is not what it needs to be, and you know, you're still just as good with the Snap-on, or just as good with the earthquake. You know, the earthquake says 60 foot-pounds, this says 55. They're probably the same. The Snap-on says 40 foot-pounds, this says 55. I bet you that Snap-on performs just like this does. No better, no worse. Now, I don't know that. I've not tested the tool. I'm just telling you, for removal, consistently, 35 foot-pounds, usually 40 foot-pounds. For putting on, I guarantee you it's making the 55 it claims. So, you do with that what you want to, boys. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you.